Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahuda. I've been seeking Yah. I've been trusting Yah. I'm holding on. I'm standing in this witness. I'm standing on the Torah and the Basora of truth. I'm operating in the dominion and an anointing that has been given to me. I believe this in Amunah. I have Amunah in Yahuwah. This storm is almost gone. And I've been holding on. I've been trusting Yah. I've been holding on. I've been seeking Yah. And I've been holding on. It won't be long. It won't be long till He send us home. I've been holding on. Listen, I'm standing in this witness. I'm warring a warfare. I am in the thick of the battle. I'm taking authority. I'm doing what Yahuwah has commanded. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, hear the word of Yahuwah. You better hold on. Hear the word of Yahuwah. You better hold on, hear the word of Yahuwah. You better hold on, hear the word of Yahuwah. You better hold on, you better hold on, you better hold on. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I give you praise for your Basora and your Torah of truth. Abba, I praise you right now for the Ruach HaKodesh which you has given me. I give you praise for you said these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. In my name they will speak with new tongues. In my name they will take up serpents. If they eat drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. In my name they shall answer the sick and they shall recover. Yahuwah, you said this ye spake of the Ruach HaKodesh they would receive. I've received the Ruach HaKodesh. I've received the witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Abba Yahuwah, I pray that you would take the reins of the lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Abba, I pray that by your Ruach HaKodesh, the word will come forth and that I would not cause anyone to stumble. I would cause anyone to be turned out of the way, anyone to come up lame. Abba, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, by the authority that you've given to me in the Shamayim. Yahusha said when you pray, believe that you receive it and you shall have them. Yahusha said, one will put 1,000 to flight, two will put 10,000 to flight. Yahusha said, you can say unto a mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea. And if we don't doubt in our Amun now, like a wave tossed and driven, we shall receive. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I bind demons and devils over the children that you have chosen, those of the remnant. I bind Hasatan, Ruachs of distraction, Ruachs of divination. I bind you. Unclean Ruachs, familiar Ruachs, I bind you. All perverse Ruachs, all Ruachs of witchcraft, all Ruachs of sorcery, all Ruachs of divination, I bind you. I take authority over you, over the people of Yahuwah Eluah. I stand in the gap. I declare a word, a Torah. Greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. We can do all things through a Mashiach Yahusha that strengthens us. He has given us the keys to the Shamayim. Whatever we bind on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever we loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. I bind you, demons, over the children of Yahuwah in the name of Yahusha Mashiach. I command you to loose Yah's people. I command you to take your hands off Yahuwah's people. I command you to let Yahuwah's people go. I declare it in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Let Yahuwah's people go. Loose Yahuwah's people. Loose their minds. Loose their bodies from sickness and disease. Loose their minds from depression. Loose their minds from bondage to sin. Loose their minds in the name of Yahusha Hamashiach. Loose them and let them go. In the name of Yahusha Hamashiach. Abba Yahuwah, I pray that by your Ruach AQOV, quicken, make alive those that you have chosen. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Hamashiach, bring to pass healing and health. Bring to pass finances. Abba Yahuwah, Hasatan, demons and devils has locked up people's money. Turn their money loose. In the name of Yahusha Hamashiach, turn their finances loose. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Hamashiach, cause a shift. Cause a shift and change in their finances. In the name of Yahusha Hamashiach, I speak a word. I speak a Torah. I speak a Torah. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. Sinners have the task of gathering it up to hand it over to the righteous. I speak your Torah concerning this. Abba Yahuwah, you have promised us the treasures of darkness, the hidden riches of secret places. Abba Yahuwah, I speak a Torah. And Abba, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha Mashiach that by your word, your people would be made free. Abba, I thank you. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Hallelujah. Man of y'all, woman of y'all, listen. We be about that. We be about that. We be about that. We be about this. We be about this witness. We be about this witness. Hallelujah. All praise to Yahuwah. When you see his hand upon this land, it's time to leave. It's time to leave Babylon. And listen, I understand some only those people who are chosen, the remnant is going to leave. They the only people going to leave. Ain't no way you going to escape Babylon. He would have healed Babylon, but he can't. Hallelujah. Listen, we listening to none other than Hezekiah. Song is entitled Jeremiah, chapter 4, Repent. And the one previously before that was his song, Psalms 130, 137. Listen. I don't write this music. We as a people of Yahuwah, right, have to understand that the attack, the bombardment, the barrage is going to come and it's going to be constant. Hasatan is going to constantly bring you under attack in your mind, right? He's going to try to bring attacks to your body, right? He's going to try to do those things to you to cause you to pull away from that which you understand to be true in Torah, in the Besorah, in the witness, in Amunah. Listen, Yahuwah has called us to wage a warfare. He has called us to fight a good fight in Amunah, right? Because it's a good fight, right? And the battlefield is the mind. Hasatan is going to bombard the mind, right? Right, but you have to resist. You have to resist, right? You have to resist, right? In Hamashiach Yahusha, right? We have the power to resist Hasatan. Have the power to resist Hasatan. We do not have to give in to the thoughts, the dialogues, the conversations, right, that he tries to generate in the mind to pull us away from our Amunah in what Yahuwah's Torah says. We don't have to comply. You don't have to resist. See, because listen. In this witness, if you born, and I'm only talking about people who are born again in the water Ruach HaKodesh, because people who are born of the water Ruach HaKodesh have a certain set of skills. The people who are in this witness, who have been born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh, they have a particular set of skills, right? They have that which is necessary to operate in an authority that will give them power over that which Hasatan sends to them in demonic attacks of the mind. You have the power over that. See, and when you understand this in the witness, you understand this by the Ruach HaKodesh, then you know that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Right? When you can see his attacks in the mind, right? Because you know, even sickness starts off as an attack in the mind. It's something that you communicate to your mind, through mind, into your body, right? I mean, because listen. Amunah says that he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities, chastisement of our peace upon him. By his stripes we are healed, Torah. Right? We understand this. That's a Torah. When my body is attacked, I give it a Torah. Right? Now, I have to keep giving my body that Torah and every other Torah that speaks to what the witness of Yahusha Mashiach provide in this Yeshua until the manifestation of that Torah comes to pass. You're going to be under attack. It's going to be in the mind. If Hasatan can convince you of something in your mind, then what happens is it begins to manifest itself in your body. If you war the good war, you fight the good fight in your mind, right? Right? You exercise the authority that's given to you in Amunah by the Ruach HaKodesh, you will see what you say come to pass. But you got to resist. You got to resist. And when you are in this witness, when you're born again of the water of Ruach HaKodesh, you begin to understand by the Ruach of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of him, right? The eyes of your understanding becomes enlightened and you begin to recognize that this is the greatest he that's in me than it's in the world. You begin to believe that the things that you say will come to pass and you have what you say. You understand that there are things that Hasatan is going to launch against your thoughts and against your mind, and you'll begin to see them come, and then you will have to speak a word of resistance. Okay, so you have to resist what Hasatan delivers to you, right? Right? And in the form of an attack. Doesn't matter what that attack looked like. Doesn't matter how gradual or how incidental that thought may appear or come. By the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and revelation, by discernment, when that comes, you have to deal with it as soon as you identify it. You got to deal with this. You got to deal with this. You got to resist. Let's look at the definition of resist, right? Let's look at the definition of resist, right? Matter of fact, let's do this. Let us establish, right, James 4 and 7, right? Right? James 4 and 7 says, right? I'm going to start the first verse. He says, from whence come wars and fighting among you, right? Contentions, arguments. How do these things come, right? Right? Ye lust and have not. Ye kill, ye desire to have, and can obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because you ask not. Now listen. This is not the condition of a person who is in the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. This is not somebody that's born again, right? Because you don't lust. You don't lust after something when you're born again, right? You don't kill. You don't desire to kill, right? This is not that which is of a regenerative nature. This ain't somebody that has been translated from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of Yahuwah. This individual is still in darkness, right? Your lust and your wars are a result of your unregenerate nature. You struggle in your flesh because you have not mastered the attacks of the mind. Now, unless you... Now, let me clarify something. In this witness, you're born again of the water of Ruach HaKodesh. Right? You're established in Torah. You're developing yourself in this witness through your obedience to Torah. By doing those things that cause you to be strengthened in this witness. And you're led by your Ruach HaKodesh. You have a new heart. Right? You have a new nature. You have been transformed from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of his dear son. Right? Right? Your heart is new. Right? On the inside, it's new. Right? But this mind is not new. What you think has to be transformed and renewed. This mind has a data bank that remembers everything. This mind remembers everything you used to do. And Hasatan knows how to bring to your remembrance your thoughts, right? He knows how to bring them back, but in this witness, by the power of Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of you, you see, and I mean with spiritual sight, you see him coming, you see what he says, and you have to respond by resistance to him. Now, the person who lives in lust, the person who wars, right, who struggles, right, is not made perfect in the love of you. There is some development of character that needs to occur. But if you're living in lust and you're living in war, right? If you desire to have and can't, and you kill or you want to kill to get it, that's not the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Make no mistake about it. That's not the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Actually, in all actuality, you should, when attacked mentally by such devices and schemes of Hasatan, right? You should be resisting them. Because they're going to come. But you don't have to play to them or play into them, right? You have to take a stand, right? Okay, that's righteousness. You ain't doing these things because that's not your motivation. Your nature's changed. Who you are on the inside has changed. You have a new heart. Excuse me. You can keep Torah now. You can obey Yahuwah's Torah. You can obey his laws, statutes, and commandments. You can keep his word. He said, ye ask and you receive not, because you ask amiss. Right, nice thing. You know, you ask, and you ask amiss. Now listen. What does it mean to ask amiss? Right? The word amiss is
Strong's G, 2560. Kakos.
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 It means miserable, to be ill, improperly or wrongly. Right? To speak ill or revile one, to ask improperly or wrongly, or your motivation, right, is wrong. When you make a request, your motivation is wrong. Your motive is wrong, right? Right? Right, now listen. He says, that ye may consume it upon your own lust. Now listen, in this witness, we who are born again of the water of Ruach HaKodesh, that seed that the woman has given birth to, that had been born again, that have received this witness, that have been quickened, that have been made alive, right? Our heart's desires and intentions is to keep Torah. Our motivations aren't to lust, right? Your mind has to be dealt with. Your thoughts have to be dealt with. You have to begin to recognize how Hasatan is influencing your thoughts. And then you have to deal with it according to the method that Yahuwah dealt with it. He says you feel it on your own lust, right? He says you adulterers and adulteresses, right? Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with you? Listen, you cannot align yourself being in this witness, declaring that you're born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh with the people who are in the dominion of Hasatan, right? You can't leave the dominion of Yahuwah and play in the dominion of Hasatan. You can't do it. You can't leave the kingdom of Yahuwah and frolic and tap dance and shake your rump in the dominion of Hasatan. Right? That's hostile. He says the friendship, right? The friendship, right? What's a friendship? That word friendship, right?
Strong's G 5373. Philia.
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 Philia, right? Let me see the root, the etymology of that root word.
Strong's G 5384. Philos.
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 Which means to be friends, be friendly to one, to wish him well. A friend, an associate. He who associates familiarly with one, a companion. If you're born again in the water of Ruach HaKodesh, you're no longer part of that dominion. That dominion is going to influence you because Hasatan is his father. Hasatan governs him 24/7 in his life, 7 days a week. Hasatan will use him, will use her to affect you. That's why it's hostile. Because it's going to always be hostile towards you. You gotta understand in this witness of Yahusha Mashiach, you have everything you need to resist. You have everything you need to resist. You have to resist. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of Yahuwah. So you already understand you have, if you've allowed yourself to be influenced again by lust, right? And driven back to a place of familiarity with the dominion of Hasatan, right? Right? You're hostile. You're an enemy of you. You're an enemy of you. He said, listen, do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? Right? Our Ruach? Our Ruach? Not the Ruach of Yahuwah, not the Ruach HaKodesh, because the Ruach HaKodesh don't lust to anything. But your natural, unregenerate, unnew, unholy, their lust. That's why he got to give you a new one. That's why he said, I'm going to put a new heart in you, a new Ruach. Because that one ain't going to lust. Hasatan is going to try to take you into a place where you were once familiar with to bring you back. Oh, excuse me. Under his dominion. Did I break my glass? Right. I don't know. I got that on wheel. He gonna do everything he do to bring you back under that dominion. He wants you serving Yahuwah. He don't want you serving Yahuwah. Hasatan don't want you serving Yahuwah. He says here, right? He says, do ye think that the scriptures saith in vain that evil Ruach that you have dwelleth in us, lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, whereof he saith, Elohiym resists the proud, but giveth grace and mercy to the humble. The humble, who has his heart changed. The humble who recognizes that his Yeshua is in Yahusha HaMashiach. Right? He says, listen, submit yourselves unto Elohiym. Okay, so understand this. You got to be born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh in order to submit to Yahuwah. There's no submitting to Yahuwah without coming through Yahusha HaMashiach. There's no compliance. There's no submission. The Greek word for submit.
Strong's G 5293. Hupatasso.
To arrange under, to subordinate, to subject, to put in subjection, right? To subject oneself, to obey, right? To submit to one's control, to yield to one's admonition or advice, right? To obey, be subject. So. Only those that are in the witness. Only those that have been birthed of the woman. Only those that are in the remnant. Only those who have become subordinate, who has been put in subjection, who has obeyed, who has submitted to control of, who has admonition and obey in subjection to, right? Yahuwah. And the only way you do that is through being born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh. You said, can't no man come to Abba except by him. He is the way, the truth, and the life. talking about resistance. Right? So you have to be in the place in this witness in order to be able to resist. That's why in the world, man, listen, whatever your flesh told you to do, you did. You were under the dominion of Hasatan. And whatever Hasatan said to you, you did. That was your nature. You willingly did it. But in this witness, you born again in the water of Ruach HaKodesh. Your heart's changed. Your Ruach has changed. You have Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh. The only thing that still remains is that mind. And that has to be renewed constantly in the Torah, in the Masorah. He says, submit yourself to Elohiym and resist. Now resist. Right now, let's look at the Greek word for resist. Right? The Greek word for resist is
Strong's G 436. Anthistemi.
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 Right? Anthistemi. To set one's self against. To withstand. To resist. To oppose. To set against. To wrestle. Matthew 11 and 12. Right? Yahusha says, verily, verily, started at verse 11. Verily, verily, I say unto you, among them that are born of a woman, there has not risen a greater than Yahukanan, the immerser. Notwithstanding, he is the least in the kingdom of heaven. He that is least in the kingdom of the Shamayim is greater than he. No. Because he that is least in the kingdom of the Shamayim, who were born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh, who have now become a part of the kingdom of the Shamayim, right, is greater than Yahukanan. For all the prophets and the law prophesied unto Yahukanan. Right? But you see the kingdom. Everybody after Yahukanan got brought into by faith in Amunah and the witness of Yahusha Mashiach into the kingdom of the Shamayim. The least is greater by virtue of the birth, the experience, the Ruach HaKodesh. He says, from the days of Yahukanan, the immerser, I skipped the verse, until now, right? The kingdom of the Shamayim suffers violence. And the violent take it by force. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence. They're taking it They trying to destroy the kingdom of the heavens coming into the Eretz from Yehukanan unto Yahusha HaMashiach. The kingdom has suffered violence. They have tried to stop the kingdom from coming, but the violent are pressing their way in. See, we understand that we have to resist. We think about force. We have to resist, right? To set oneself against the violence that Hasatan is bringing, the constant attacks of the mind, the constant distractions and the bombardments that he's employing to pull us back into his kingdom. And we can't just do it willingly. We can't just fellowship with these people. We just can't go in with these people. That's enmity with Yahuwah. We can't go back into the world and circulate among them people and do what they do and desire what they have and want what they have and, you know, they Gucci and they Armani and all that mess. We can't do that. We understand that the kingdom suffers violence. We can't be hostile. Right. But we gotta resist. Gotta resist. Right? You got to set yourself against it. See, how's the time gonna come? Devils and demons gonna come. They gonna present themselves. But what are you gonna do? Are you going to take it by force? Are you gonna operate in the authority that Yahuwah has given you? Listen. There's no difference from me binding and taking authority over demons and devils in prayer. No difference between me doing it that way and when Hasatan comes to my mind with some crazy, stupid stuff, me saying to the demons that bringing that influence, listen, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I take authority over you and that thought, and I cast that down. It's the same authority, same kingdom principle. It's the same power. I cast that thought down because I have authority to do so in this witness. I have the same authority to speak it when it comes to me, to my thoughts, that I have over someone that's rolling around on the ground that needs to be delivered. It's the same authority. There's nothing different. Because it's the power that Yahuwah has given you. That's that Ruach, that glory, that glow that's on the inside of you that they recognize. It's that name that you use that they recognize. They understand who you are. Listen. There was a time when Shaul was casting out devils. And there was this man who had a son. I guess had demons in him. And, you know, there was these men, I think they were like brothers, that went in and they gonna go in and try to cast out a devil, right? They were trying to operate in a power and authority and a dominion and in a kingdom that they weren't under. They were trying to do what Shaul did when he demonstrated the power of Yahuwah to cast out devils. They tried to do what he did. Right? But they weren't under the dominion of Yahuwah through Yahusha Mashiach's witness, having been born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. Therefore, they didn't have that authority. They didn't have that name. They could not exercise the power. But they tried. They went in and, we command you to come out of him in the name of Paul's God. The demon said to me, I know Paul. Shoot, I even know Peter. But who are you? I don't recognize the glow, because there ain't none. I don't see the glory on you. I don't see the power that is attached to the name of Yahusha HaMashiach manifested in earthen vessels in you. So what that demon-possessed man did, he beat all three of them and had them all running out of the house butt naked. Dominion. It's the same power. The resisting has everything to do with you exercising authority. See, and listen. In the kingdom of the Shamayim, right, we function by an authority and a power that's been given to us in Yahusha Mashiach's name and his witness that causes us to be able to respond in the erects as Yahusha did. You gotta resist. You gotta resist. You gotta resist Hasatan. You have to resist the schemes. You have to resist the treachery. Like, you got to get hostile with it. You got to bind that devil. You got to loose that devil out of your life, your thoughts, your mind, your house. You got to do that because you got authority to do it. Now, if you ain't in this witness, you just like them brothers that went in and, you trying to do something, it ain't gonna work. Because you know why? Half the time, Satan can't cast out Satan. Yahusha said, a house divided against itself can't stand. Hasatan is not going to cast himself out of a place by himself. And the only people operating in this dominion is those who Yahuwah has quickened. Those who Yahuwah has given exceeding great power. But you got to understand this in Amunah. You got to begin to do what Yahuwah, through Yahusha HaMashiach's witness, did. He said, listen, one sets oneself against, to withstand, to resist, to oppose. Now let's look at Merriam-Webster's definition of resist. Right? It's a verb. To exert force in opposition. To exert force, power, authority in the opposite direction. Transit verb. To exert oneself so as to counteract or defeat. To exert oneself so as to counteract or defeat. See. The battle is the mind. If you're born again of the water and the Ruach AQOV, understand Hasatan is going to be relentless. Demons and devils are going to be relentless against the mind, against the thought. You have to establish that you understand in Amunah who you are in the kingdom of the Shamayim. You have to demonstrate the power that Yahuwah has given you over this. He's given you the ability to transform the way you think. He says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You renew your mind in Torah. Then faith comes by hearing Torah. So Torah's work in you has a dual purpose. It strengthens your Amunah and it changes the way you think. Well, you can't go extended periods of time without Torah. You can't go experience extended period of time without hearing the word of Yahuwah, because it establishes Amunah in you, and it transforms the way you think. So when Hasatan begins to shoot his missiles, his darts, those things that he launches, right? You got Torah on your lips. You have an authority to speak. You have the power to cast out a devil. You have an authority to speak a word of healing. You got to resist. No. Now, it says resist is to exert force in opposition. The transit verb is to exert oneself as to counteract or defeat. You overcome Hasatan by the blood of the Lamb, by the words of what you say. And the words that you say are Yahusha's words, because he says only what the Father says. And he told you to keep his commandments. And he told you to say his word. The words of your testimony are the words of Torah. The words of your testimony is the Torah, which Hasatan must obey, because you in Amunah have Yahuwah's witness. You have the glow. You have the glory go. They see you. You have the glory glow. They see you. They have to comply. Paul, I know. Peter, I know. But who are you? The noun. I don't want the noun. I want. Matter of fact, let's look up resistance. Resistance. Let's look at the word resistance. Oops, I didn't spell that right. Yeah, that's the one I want. Resistance. Resistance. In an act or instant of resisting. Right? Right? Remember old Star Trek with the Borg. Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile. Everybody got assimilated into the Borg. Resistance is futile. No. Not in the kingdom of the Shamayim. The violent take it by force. The remnant is the resistance. Y'all don't hear me. The remnant is the resistance. They are the ones that are fighting the dominion of darkness to bring in those that Yahuwah has chosen to gather a royal army of soldiers of righteousness who have keys to the Shamayim, who have power and authority, who lead the resistance. Listen, you know. Hasatan expects us to walk in this passivity. He's trying to keep us distracted by all this other stupid stuff, when all we need is Amunah in the Torah of Yahuwah, right? And in the Basora of Yahusha, and begin to do the things that he's called us to do in bringing this awakening into the quickening. Right? right? The distractions of the awakening is causing this separation, this dynamic separation between the righteous remnant and those that are just the called. That's why there's many called, but only a few are chosen. See, because the resistance understands that they will not be simulated. They will not be assimilated. I remember when I was in high school, right? Went to a predominantly European high school. And yes, racism was pervasive. Right? So much so, right? I'll give you a little brief history. When my parents built a big house. Actually, our house was the second biggest house in this new development that we were living in. You know, white, big pillars, just 5-bedroom, you know. Right? And we walked to the school, which was like 10 minutes away. They had a special walkway going right where we lived at. Right? So we walked and we went to the school, and you know, they assigned us to classes. Right? We were, you know, it was like maybe 5 or 6 black people. Right? Me and my sister. Right? They put us in these classes, right? And you know, all of these classes were like D-face classes. Right? You know, I ain't know nothing about that. I wasn't sure about that, right? But they was all D-face classes. So, you know, we came home with our stuff, and my mother looked at it, and she said, well, what is this? I said, I don't know. They just gave us the classes, Ma. It's just the classes they gave us. I said, oh, no, right? Well, we had just moved in not too long ago, and the neighbor across the street came over to the house. You know, Europeans. We were only blacks in that community. Europeans came over, you know, brought us a cookie thing, you know, a tray, and, you know, introduced himself. He said, yeah, he was he was on the board of directors at school district. And Mike says, oh, okay, well, my kids went to my kids are going to school. So anyway, so what my dad did was he went over, him and my mom, and talked to the school. Or talked to the director of the board. Because, you know, they gave us all these D-face classes. And the next day, because I guess he made a call to the school. Because when we got to the school, all our classes were changed to A classes. A, B classes, right? The enemy. Just for example. The enemy does not want you to resist. My mother, my father was resistant. They failed, they refused, to yield to somebody else's expectations of their children. Right? I went to school. Right? This last story. Played football. But, you know, they had their own people. They didn't want to let me run. I was a running back. And I was good. They didn't want me to because they had this other person that they were trying to bring along and make him, you know, this, finally, we as a black people, the black students kind of got upset. You know, we was like, listen, this has kind of happened pervasively in the school. It's like about 27 of us in the school now. We started the Black Caucus. Right? We started Black Caucus. Right? And, they kept telling us we needed to assimilate into the culture of the school, to be assimilated into their system. But we resisted. And because we resisted, they had to make changes. They made changes. Right? But they had to be opposed. Had we not resisted, there would have never been a change. If you do not resist what Hasatan brings to your mind, to your thoughts, you will not change. If you don't resist through what Yahuwah's given you, because he's giving you everything you need to get the job done. He's giving you a new heart. He's giving you his Ruach HaKodesh. He's giving you skills. He's giving you his name. He's giving you his authority. He's giving you the word to renew your mind, change the way you think. Right? But you got to do it. You got to be willing to take a stand. Right? They wanted to assimilate. So we weren't going to simulate. You know, and a couple times it got really testy, right? Because, we had some. I had I got myself challenged a couple times. And I was ready to throw hands with 2 or 3 Europeans at one time. It didn't matter to me because, I was about that. Right? But, they started to get more hostile, started to knocking out our headlights and stuff like that, right? Finally it came to kind of a little ahead, right? And then, I had to make some phone calls. I had to call my cousin. I had to call my cousin in the city and say, listen, I need you to come out here, with a few of your people, and I need you to be here and just show up. Because resistance requires some force sometimes. You don't win a resistance passively. Passive resistance doesn't work. Civil rights was a passive resistance that didn't work. I don't care what you think. I don't care about what you say. It didn't work. Martin Luther King knew it didn't work. But then there's some deeper stories that's even attached to that. That passive resistance never works. Not in the kingdom, in the dominion of Hasatan. Not in that kingdom. Kingdom of heaven suffers violence. But we, who are born again with the water and Ruach HaKodesh, who understand that we have authority in the Shamayim, right? And on the Uretz, we operate in a power. And our resistance is matched with the force of Yahuwah in the Shamayim, and it makes stuff happen. It means of resisting. The power or capacity to resist. Resistance. See. You have the power in this witness to resist. You have keys to the Shamayim. Yahusha said these signs shall follow you. Yahusha said, whosoever shall say unto this mountain. Yahusha says, ask anything in my name, it'll be given. And see, we don't ask amiss because our motivations are not of the lust of our flesh. Our motivations are rooted in our new heart, in our new Ruach. Our motivations are rooted in the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah on the inside of us. Resistance is in Hamashiach Yahusha. It's the inherent ability of an organism to resist harmful influences. See, you can resist Hasatan's hostile influences. The capacity of a species or strain of microorganisms to survive exposure to a toxic agent formally effective against it. See, Hasatan used to be effective against you when you were under his dominion. He used to put a thought in your head under his dominion, and guess what? You did exactly what he said. You fulfilled the desires of the lust of the flesh and of the lust of the mind, and you were by nature his children. You were exposed in that sin nature. You could not resist. You were Locutus of Borg. Resistance was futile with you. By your nature, you were assimilated into whatever Hasatan wanted you to do. You fulfilled the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and you served his kingdom and were a child of wrath. You were hostile to Yahuwah. You were an enemy to the kingdom of Yahuwah. Resistance. Resistance is not this passive, standoffish kind of thing. I ain't gonna mess with Satan, because if I don't mess with Satan, he ain't gonna mess with me. I ain't gonna mess with the devil because the devil ain't gonna mess with me. You go ahead with that thought. If you're born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh, listen, you on his radar. He can't do anything to you unless you give him authority. Unless you give him authority, right? Let me do this first, right? He says, submit yourself, therefore, to Elohiym. Resist the devil. So if you look at resistance as this passive, non-approachable, I can't undo that. I don't want no involvement with that. He ain't running from you. He said, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Now listen. So this resist has to be this resistance. This opposing force. This force that's relentless and that's not going to be brought under the control of this force that is trying to bring them under control. See, because if you're born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh, you've submitted to you. You have an atonement. You have blood. You have a new heart. You've been washed clean. You are now a dwelling place for the Ruach of Yahuwah and Yahusha. You have the Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of you. You have everything you need to get the job done. But you gotta understand. This resistance requires violence. Because he says resist Hasatan and he'll flee. Right? He didn't say he won't casually stroll off. He said, okay, I'm gonna leave when I get ready. He didn't say, well, I know you telling me to leave, but you know what? I'm gonna take my time. Devil and evil. This is the Greek word for flee. Right? Flee. What is flee? Right?
Strong's G 5343. Fugo.
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 Fugo. It says to flee away, to seek safety by flight. Getting out of the presence of the glow. Getting out of the presence of the glow, right? To flee, to shun, to avoid, to flight, something abhorrent. To be safe by flight, to escape safely without, to escape safely out of danger. To flee, to vanish, right? Now, let's look at Merriam-Webster, right? Flee. What does Merriam-Webster say to flee? The definition of flee is to run away, often from danger or evil. You know how it is when you're in a situation where you got a bunch of people around. And you're all celebrating or something, and all of a sudden you hear, and everybody start running. They don't know where they running, but they're running. Everybody going in their direction, they're running. Some of them don't know if they're running to the guns, away from the gun, but they're running, right? Flee. So you mean to tell me that if you, by resistance, and again, resistance is your active participation. You have to persist in a resistance. The power or capacity to resist, you have to, by demonstration of your power and your capacity, to resist, right? Right? An opposing or impeding force, your power, your dynamos has to be impeding Hasatan, which drives devils and demons to flee. You gotta understand what you gotta understand what you have. You gotta understand who you are. You gotta understand what he's given you. You gotta understand what you operate in. Right, the kingdom suffers violence, but listen, you got to be in this thing with resistance. The opposition offered by a body or substance to the passage through it of a steady electric current. All right. resistance, the adjective, of relating to or being exercised involving pushing or pulling against a force of resistance. See, because you know, when you operating in the authority, right, of Yahuwah, you have the capacity to resist, right? So when we look at right, the idea of resistance, you have to lock in your mind that this is your taking authority, force, pushing out, driving away, causing to flee Hasatan. So, what do you use? Well, Yahusha said, I've given you the keys to the Shamayim. He said, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Authority. Yahusha says, whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, amunah, shall not doubt in his heart, having amunah, but believe that what he say shall come to pass. He shall have what he say. Yahusha said, listen. I make it my business to say what the Father said. Hasatan recognized the glow in me. He recognized the Torah that I spoke. Let's go. Let's do this real quick. Let's look at the discourse in the garden. We've looked at it before, but we're gonna look at it again. He said Genesis 3:1, right? And now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, haveth Elohiym said, you shall not eat of every tree in the garden. Right? No. You understand, this is an assault on the thought of Ravah, who had no reason to believe that what Yahuwah had told her concerning anything was anything other than a Torah. So the woman said unto the serpent, no, she didn't say no, but she says, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, right? He has given a Torah and said, ye shall not eat of it. Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. You gotta understand. As long as you speak a Torah to Hasatan by the authority that you have in Yahusha HaMashiach's witness, and you believe it, it has to come to pass. As long as you hold on to the Torah of Yahuwah and speak the Torah of Yahuwah concerning anything that Hasatan says in this witness by the Ruach HaKodesh, he has to flee. I mean, he has to stop, or he has to change his approach, because you shut him down. Right? All right, now listen. Right? And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. You gotta understand, the kingdom of darkness lies. Yahuwah had already given her the Torah. Said the consequences of this is death. Hasatan, the father of lies, spoke a word into her head to cause her to entertain what he had said. Right? He said, you won't die. He says, for Elohiym knows that the day ye eat thereof, your eyes shall be opened. Eyes open. Right? And you should be as Elohims, knowing good and evil. Right. No. Well, they were already elves. Yahusha said, is it not written that thou art elves? They were already elves. Adam and Ava were elves at the time that they were created. They have Yahuwah's Ruach. Adam was able to name every animal. He had Ruach. He had the Ruach of wisdom and understanding, Ruach of counsel, of might, the Ruach of knowledge, the Ruach of Yahuwah, the fear of Yahuwah. He had them. He was Yahuwah's elves on the earth. Hasatan lied. But Ava, she entertained that thought. Right? She didn't even have a dialogue with her husband in relationship to the conversation that she had. She didn't go to Adam and say, Adam, the serpent has spoken to me, and he has said that we can eat of the tree because we won't die, and if we do eat of the tree, we'll be like Alua. See, and Adam would have taken his place, maybe, had he received the word from Eve and rebuked Hasatan, the serpent. And or he would have told her Yahuwah, and Yahuwah would have dealt with the serpent. But see, Yahuwah knew what was going to happen. But all it took was a failure to not resist Hasatan. She didn't resist him. She should have resisted him at the point when he said, you won't die. Because that was an indication that he had lied. He had spoke something against Yahuwah, her creator, who made her. She did not respond to the distraction. She entertained it. She played with it. She muttered it over. And again, this process was gradual. She didn't just all of a sudden, she walked past that tree. She entertained what it said. She watched it. She said, that tree, that fruit look good. But the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, Elohiym have said, ye shall not eat of that, for there ye will die. She said, right? And when the woman saw, because it came to the point where the woman saw, she went close enough to see this tree, and she probably looked at this tree for a while. She spent some time looking. This wasn't like this one time, quick whoop whoop. This thing happened, right? The woman saw that the tree was good. Good. How do you know it's good? You would have said, don't touch it, right? You would know good and evil. the day that you eat of it, you know good and evil. But the woman saw that it was good, or what she perceived good was, which means that she had an idea of what good it was. See, when you're born again, the water of Ruach HaKodesh, you know those thoughts that Hasatan sends. You know when they come. You have to resist, or you will become like Leclutus of Borg. Gotta resist. You gotta resist. You gotta resist. Right? Right? So. It was pleasant to the eye. It was good for food. But Yahuwah knew the day that you eat of it, you should be like God, knowing good and evil. Right? And you know, right? It's the same word. Same Hebrew word. Knowing good and evil. Knowing good and evil. Right? That word good. Tov.
Strong's H, 2896. Tov.
Tov. She already knew good. Tov. She already knew good. And the woman saw that the tree was Tov. Hasatan had convinced her of a lie. She already knew good. There was no need to know evil. Well, she probably knew that. But it wasn't manifested to her because there was no evil present that would reveal evil. Because everything Yahuwah saw was told. The only evil was the presentation of Hasatan, who introduced evil through her disobedience. She already knew good. There was no evil to be known because it was all good. The subtlety of Hasatan's attack. But you know what? You have power. You are part of the remnant resistance. If you've been born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh, you are a part of the remnant resistance. We are at war. And the weapons of our warfare aren't carnal. Resistance is futile. What am I looking for? I'm looking for something here. Where's that? Ephesians 6 and 10. You gotta understand. Actually, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go to Ephesians 6. Where am I at? Ephesians 6. Right. Finally, my brethren, be strong. Because, in this witness, you have the spirit of might. In the Ruach of Yahuwah. You have the Ruach of Yahuwah, Ruach of wisdom and understanding, the Ruach of counsel, Ruach of might, Ruach of knowledge and fear of Yahweh. Well, you have everything you need in the Ruach Kodesh to get the job done. I'm telling you this because you have this in Amunah. I'm telling you this because you have this in Amunah. You have to believe that you have Amunah. You have to Kadar, go lay down. You have to believe the Torah of Yahuwah in Amunah. Finally, be strong. I am strong. I'm strong. Cut it out, go down! Now! I got these people working on the roof next door. Every now and then my dogs get a little anxious. Get a little anxious, edgy. Be strong. You have exceedingly great power. You have to understand in Amunah who you are. You have to understand in Amunah what you have. You got to understand in Amunah what Yahuwah has called you to. Right? This is not a Locutus of Borg situation. Right? A simulation is not futile. We have been translated from Locutus of Borg into the kingdom of Yahuwah. We have been transformed from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of Yahuwah's dear Son. We are children of light. We have power. We have authority. We have delegated authority. Finally, my brother, be strong in Adonai Yahusha. And the power. The power, the strength, the force, the might. That word in the Greek.
Strong's G 2904, kratos.
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 It means force. It means strength. It means power, mighty great power. A mighty deed or work of power. Dominion. You, through the witness of Yahusha, being born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh, you who have a new heart, you who have been sprinkled with clean water, you who have been born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh, you have keys to his kingdom. You can put 1,000 to flight. You are the remnant resistance. You. He says, put on the armor of Elohiym, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of Hasatan. Okay. I can tell it if I go into this part right here, it's going to be a minute. 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 Man, if y'all want me, we're going to stop right here. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. Resistance. Resistance. We are the resistant. We are the resistance. We are them that resist. We resist Hasatan's devices and schemes. We resist. Because he's given us what we need to resist. You can beat this. You can beat this all the time. All the time. There are things that you have to do. Transforming, hearing, praying, fasting, meditating on Torah. Because the resistance of the remnant is continual, perpetual. We are going to be resisting. We're going to be putting up a resistance until Yahusha Mashiach's return. And he's going to put everything down. Right now, we just resistance. We fighting. Weapons of our warfare. We're engaged in battle. We understand it's violently. The violent attacks are on our mind. Some of them, they're subtle, they're distractions, there's lies, there's wiles, there's trickery, there's schemes, there's devices, there's things that Hasatan uses. But greater is he that is in us than is he that is in the world. We can do all things through Hamashiach Yahusha, who strengthens us by his Ruach in us, by our spiritual discipline in us, by what we do in Torah, how we yield. It's obedience. Man, if y'all want me, y'all, we're going to stop there. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I thank you for the word that you have given me to give to them. I pray that in Yahusha Mashiach, that this witness, this word, this Besorah, this Torah of truth would go out and would not turn to you void, but it would accomplish that which you sent forth to do. Abba Yahuwah, I am able to do this because of your Ruach in me. I am a son of Yahuwah Elohiym, and I have been given authority. I can resist Hasatan, and he has to run. Demons and devils have to run. They may launch an attack, but listen, my resistance, I am the resistance of the remnant. I'm Yahuwah. I will not fail. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach, let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. You are my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called greatness. One of you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Today you was favored you. Yeah, if I would have kept going, we would have been going for another hour and a half. But it's all good because I'm going to pick up where I left off. So man of Yah, woman of Yah, with that I say shalom, shalom, shalom. Listen and be blessed. Hallelujah.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.